welcome to Sew Denim Quilting. Are you like me, and do you like to keep every little bit that you bought because you can't get rid of it? Well, today I have a project for you. We're going to turn those scraps into these cute little ornaments. To make our cute little stockings, we'll need a few things. We'll need some ribbon or our seams for our stocking loop. We'll need some batting to make them a little fluffier, and it makes it easier to create the stockings. We're going to need some glue, turning tool, scissors, we're going to need both scissors for cutting paper and for cutting our material. We're going to need a marker, come in handy. Hopefully we don't have to use Mr. Seam Ripper. I'm using 2.5 inches for my cuff. We're going to need our 2-inch scrap pieces. And again, you can make these with even smaller pieces. I did. A little bit more work. These go back a little faster with our 2-inch squares. I'm going to scrap up with some material and some denim, make it a patchwork. I think the patchwork ones are really cute. This is a good use for all that material that you have left over from making masks. We're going to need a piece of cardboard and our stocking pattern. And I got this off of northpolechristmas.com. It is the stocking pattern number 11. I will link that for you in the description below. We're going to cut our stocking out, and I cut it about 1/4 inch or so, 1/4 to 1/2 inch, somewhere in between. I just gauged it, and I'm not being perfect. These are scrappy. They're cute. Perfection is not the name of the game. At least not for me anyway. Okay, now that we have our pattern cut out, we're going to glue that to our cardboard. So let's grab our glue down. Make sure you get the edges really good because we're going to be using this. Now that we've got it on our cardboard, let's cut our cardboard piece out. Now I'm going to take my batting and I'm going to trace my pattern onto my batting. And that's where my marker comes in handy too. And I'm just using leftover batting. That's the nice thing about this project. It's a great scrap buster project because we get to use all our scrap stuff that we don't know what to do with. So I'm just going to my trace line so I know where to cut at. Okay, now that we have it drawn out, go ahead and cut that piece out. I have our stocking cut out. I have my pieces here. Like I said, I have fabric and denim. And just any 10. There's 10 of them. 1, 2, 3. Now we need to decide what we want to do. I think I'm gonna make one. Instead of using, I have a bunch of camping ones here, but I also have some really cute little baby ones, and this will make a cute. I think this will make a cute first year one. So let's see what we got. Okay. So now we need some of our ones. So we need the pink bag. Let's use this pink one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to need 2 of each one. 2 of those. 2 of these. This is a great project for just little bits and pieces that you have, and you could make a scrappy and use the crazy block. Just make sure that your crazy block is the size of your padding so that you know what size you need. So we're going to lay these out every other. So it looks similar, but the trick is to make sure that our little pointy boots are going, there's one going with one way and one going the other way. And I'll show you how that works. And I make mine so that they're every other color, so sew them together. You don't have denim on denim and fabric on fabric. All right, so that one's gonna go there. I'm gonna have one there and one there. We might change these around a little bit. Actually, we're gonna put those down there. All right. The fun part is laying these out. When we turn these, and these are kind of going to be our heel and our toe. So here's where it gets tricky. You got to remember that you have one boot going this way and one boot going this way when we sew it together. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew these together in groups of 2. And I'll add those ones on and add those one on. Okay, I'm back from the sewing machine. Patches are sewed together to look like our little stocking. Looks like a boot right now. I ironed them the best I could, as flat as I could. I used some steam. So our next thing we need to do is we need to add our cuff. And I have some options here. We have some green, some gray, another green, and some blue. I think I'm going to go with the blue. So let's get that one other. So next what we're going to do is we're going to cut these to the width of the top of our stocking. So go ahead and just rough cut that. Now my strips are together, so I got 2 out of it. All right. And what I am going to do though is I am going to fold this down about half. The reason I do this, that way when I turn it, I don't have to try to push it in. It's already kind of folded down. I have a hard time folding them in, getting them to want to go in, so I always go ahead and fold it down ahead of time. Right sides together. We'll do that with both sides. So let me get this one ready. I'm using glue so that it'll hold it in place. That way it'll stay in place. That's why I like the glue. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it, folding it down a half. I'm going to go ahead and just sew them right sides together and then I will be back. Okay, we have our cuffs sewed on. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take some pins and our little booty. And we're going to start putting our little stocking together. So we're going to put right sides together, stocking on there. It makes it easier to turn if we don't go all the way to the top. And we'll need to add our loop. You could go ahead and add your loop in now, 1 or 2, but I find adding it in the next step much easier. So make sure that your booty covers, your stocking covers all of your material. Make sure these are right sides together, and then we pin it. For this project, I find pins work better. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew down the side of our stocking. And we'll make sure we have a 1/4 inch inside of our stocking. I'm going to trace around it and use that as our guide. When I sew mine, I make sure that I backstitch on the top because it's going to take some stress when we're turning it. So back from the sewing machine, and what I did is I sewed down, used the stocking as my guide, and kept a 1/4 inch. Make sure I went in at least a 1/4 inch. And now what we're going to do is we're going to trim off all the excess. And again, I'm just going to use my, because I don't want to get too close in there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my stocking as my guide. And when you're sewing with denim, you really need to make sure that you're using a denim needle. I use Schmidt's ones. Good scissors are necessary to cut through all the denim. So once we have our stocking trimmed, we're going to turn it inside out. And we'll see how I can do this on camera. I may have to bring it back completed, but we'll time lapse this. All right, I've got it turned inside out finally. Well, it takes a little bit of work. I used a stick to make sure that I got in and poked out the corners and the toes. Just be gentle and give it a little prod here and there. All right, our last step is to add our hanger. And you can use ribbon. I have some ribbon here. Or you could use, which I have lots of, I have the seams. You could use a seam from pants. Or you can use the seam from like a shirt if you deconstructed a shirt for a project. Those work too. I think for the fun of it, I'm going to go ahead and use the ribbon. You'll need at least about 6 inches. And kind of tuck it down inside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch all the way around. One of the things I'm going to tell you when I do that is I'm going to loosen the pressure on my foot, because if my pressure foot is too tight, it won't feed through. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen my pressure foot, and I'm going to lengthen my stitch a little bit because this is really thick. So the reason when we folded our edge down, once we got it turned, it was already folded down and we didn't have to try to tuck it in there and get it to smooth out, and it just makes it a little quicker. Here is our finished stocking. I like how the tag turned out with the ribbon. And I top stitched all the way around. I did back stitch, make sure that's good and secure. And it looks cute on either side. I also like the ones that I used the denim seams with. Those are turned out really cute. I think these were ones that I made with an old shirt, the seam. Those are cute. As you can see, they all are, no matter what you do, how you arrange your scraps, they will all look cute. If you got value out of this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more tutorials using scraps and denim, please hit the subscribe button. And Merry Christmas!